Hello everyone, earlier this week we got even more info on the screen special, so today I'm going to cover in depth how good it's going to be and how it works, since we have some info about this from data miners. I'm going to break it all down as well as talk about some potential new news at the end. Be sure to subscribe if you enjoy, and let's get started. So covering both the data mined info we have and the videos, here's the things we know about the screen. Obviously some of these could change a little bit before it's released. The screen moves about at 3/4 the speed of a Quahog with about 1.5 times the height of Point Sensor. It's really easy to see in the new video just how tall it is. On top of that, of course, it's pretty wide. The screen traveling itself lasts about 6 seconds, and the effect it puts on you lasts about 8 seconds, but it starts to visually fade after about 6.5 seconds. In addition to that effect, you'll take about 30 damage. This does also paint the floor slightly as it moves, and the deployment seems to be about the same as Inkstorm, but maybe with more initial throwing range. The wall itself was confirmed to not block shots, and has some holes you could be able to use to see through on both sides. However, we do not know if the team throwing the wall will be able to see through it more easily. Maybe it'll be slightly transparent. That's something we have to wait till launch to be able to see, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's how it works. The effect itself lowers your saturation to make it very difficult to tell what is your color and what is the enemy's. One new thing we learned is it also messes with your sound. Take a listen here. Now, obviously, this isn't a demo without a lot of other people shooting and doing other things in Sensory Overload, the video game. So how exactly this will affect a bunch of bombs being thrown around and people shooting and all that other stuff remains to be seen. So that's how it works. But how good is it anyway? Well, the big thing I want to get out of the way is I don't think this is going to be as powerful as some other specials like Trizuka or Inkjet, for example. These just kind of have the ability to get kills if they're not paid attention to, and can swing a team fight really easily. Instead, I think the special falls into the category of a solid support special to help get you in, but something that needs a bit more help along the way. A good comparison to me would be to Inkstorm. Inkstorm's effect isn't that much damage or pain. It's not going to do a ton by itself, but it's really good at supplementing other things to make the push happen. For example, you wouldn't just retake with nothing but an Inkstorm, but an Inkstorm can be really useful if you're in a 4v3, or have a positional advantage, or another special you're throwing into the mix. Even though it's only a small amount of damage in paint, it lasts a while, it doesn't take up one of your main weapons, and there's nothing the opponents can really do about it. Screen is the same thing. The guy who threw the screen is still going to be running around doing things with his main weapon, the screen is still going to be blocking people's view, and possibly giving them that annoying effect, and no matter what the enemy team does about it, they can't really get rid of the wall early in any way. This to me would put it as a pretty solid special. I don't know if it'll be as good as Inkstorm, slightly better, or slightly worse, because the main factor determining this is how big of a deal is it that you're getting hit by this screen effect? And we really just don't know, mainly because there isn't really any other special to base it off of where it tries to impair your ability to tell what's going on with the game. What I will say is compared to Inkstorm, I can see even more locations where this wall would be nearly impossible to avoid. At least one person would have to go through the wall, and then I guess you could try to super jump over the wall to them, but that has its own set of downsides with all the markers that you could have. For example, in the middle of Hagglefish, there's no way you are getting around this goddamn wall. It will go through the zone, and you are going to get hit by it, or you are going to give up space. Basically, I think that this special isn't going to have a problem actually hitting people and having that effect happen. It's just going to be how good is that effect. So what about the weapon kits that actually have this special? We have two fully confirmed kits right now, which is the Sorella Undercover Umbrella and the Foil Squeezer. I'll start with Sorella Undercover Umbrella, which has Torpedo as a sub-weapon. I think that this is a solid kit combination with good synergy, as the wall paired with the Umbrella Shield could make it very difficult to take out undercover, and on top of all of that, you have to deal with shooting down torpedoes. It definitely keeps Splatoon 2's Kunder tradition of having a billion things to shoot at before you can actually shoot the player. However, Splattercolor screen is not ink armor. It does not give Kunder extra protection before it gets taken down, and because of that, you're still left with an undercover in a main weapon focused meta. As good as this kit is, unless if Splattercolor screen is way better than we think, I don't think undercover will be what we see using it. Instead, the candidate is most likely going to be the Foil Squeezer. Now yes, obviously the Squeezer was going to have a better chance of being the weapon to be used with this, given that its kit is suboptimal right now and it's one of the best main weapons in the entire game. But on top of that, they gave Squeezer a much better sub this time with Autobomb. Kyo has mentioned that Squeezer is a weapon that typically rarely literally loses unless it gets surprised. Autobomb is a tool to reduce the amount of times you're getting surprised by someone. On top of that, as an ink-hungry weapon, having one of the cheapest subs in the game to function as its bomb means it'll be able to use it quite a decent amount. And if that wasn't good enough, of course being able to throw autobombs decently compared to a splash wall will probably improve your special output. Okay, but what about the special? Well, of course autobomb is useful with that as well, to locate people and be able to throw bombs through the screen without having to know exactly where people is. This is true for torpedo as well, but torpedo cares more about the angle you have on an enemy when you throw it, so it's a bit better with autobomb. Regardless, this plays into the theme of Squeezer should have the jump on everything and not get surprised by stuff as much. It's just free cover for you to play around, and having opponents slightly disorientated will make it a lot easier for you to just immediately laser them. This is a very self-synergistic kit, and as long as it's not like 220p or something, it will probably be pretty good. Okay, so up next, I want to talk about something that is a multiplayer spoiler and data mined info. So if you do not want to hear about it, thanks so much for watching, and have a good day. Okay, anyone avoiding spoilers should be gone by now. Anyway, you guys might know that SP Chimney, which eventually became the screen, was not the only special that's been data mined before. There has also been SP Pogo, which we've known basically nothing about. Well, recently, it has been translated into every language in version 5.2.0, which came out last week adding the amiibo support data. Save figured out that if you line up the specials' translated names in alphabetical order with the title IDs with other specials in many other languages, it lines up to be Splashdown. The full explanation for that is pretty complicated, but basically, Pogo is probably a Splashdown rework. More than likely a triple Splashdown since it seems to have try in the name. So some kind of superpowered Splashdown will be coming to the game soon. A lot of people, including me, thought it would be in this season. However, now knowing that this is likely a Splashdown rework, on top of the fact that we haven't seen it in the trailer at all, obviously, makes me think that this might be coming next season in the Splatoon 2 themed update, meaning we might potentially get a new Brella, Dooley, and a new special all in one season, which is pretty cool. The downside, of course, being that we might only be getting one new special for this season and no new main weapon, which would probably be a new low in that department. Regardless, we really don't know anything about how that could work. Maybe you would have 3 splashdowns to use on a timer. Maybe you could splashdown anywhere on the map and would recall afterward. Maybe you can only do normal splashdowns and not splashdown jumps. Who knows? But more than likely, we're gonna see some brand new take on splashdown. So that's cool to hear. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye.